welcome to Predictions Warfare. I am your host, Brian. I'm here.
We back, people. We are
Yeah.
fucking back.
Unfortunately, yesterday I did, but again, we weren't feeling the best, so we saved it for Friday. But we're here. Predictions Warfare are basically our first one we did live. We tried to do the Rumble one, but the audio and the stream never went live. That's just because PlayStation and YouTube is stupid. But now I got it to work. So today we're going to do predictions for Backlash. This is going to be a very interesting day. But I just want to explain rules on how prediction warfare works, so you guys don't know what it is. And then from there, we will start the predictions. So, this is how it works. Me and Manny, every year, we predict either on the phone or now, hopefully on YouTube more often, prediction warfare. Basically, who can get the most right on the pay-per-view in a night. So let's say there's 5-6 matches. If I get more matches predicted than Manny, I win this week. If Manny does the same thing, he wins this week. But there's always a situation. There's always a tiebreaker. Because if we tie, it'll count our record as a draw. Basically, nobody won that week. But we will also, if there's a pay-per-view that we want to add to do a tiebreaker, we could always do a tiebreaker. I remember when we did TNA many months ago, and we were like, okay, we're gonna do this pay-per-view, and then after that pay-per-view, if we tie, we'll do a tiebreaker, and that'll be the tiebreaker, and we'll kind of even it out. So, if Backlash is a tie, then the tiebreaker would either be NXT's Worlds Collide with AAA, or it would be Money in the Bank. Most likely Money in the Bank, just to be safe. Unless there's any of the show that I'm missing. So, that's only in a tie situation, but if we win this week, it counts as a win to our record, and we'll count up all the wins by the end of the year, and the winner will have to win something under $10. The $10 on the WWE shop, or a different store, or a comic book, or something like that, as a gift. Last year, I had to win Manny something under $20. I bought him a Yeet shirt. It's funny, I just gave it to him when I saw him at the movies. But he has his Yeet shirt now, his Bloodline Yeet shirt. So, kind of something like that. But for now, right now, I actually was tallying the scores right now for how we're doing on predictions, because I just want to see where we're at. We're almost halfway through the year. I'm up by 2 WrestleMania, but you won. I think we did like a special pay-per-view for TNA, and you won that one. So that's why it's still very close. So I'm in the lead by 1, but Manny could come back and tie it up with Backlash and maybe another pay-per-view and take the lead just like that. We'll go back and forth until the end of the year. So, but that's kind of where we're at. Manny is down by 1. I'm leading by 1, but that could change in an instant. It could change very quickly. So we'll see what happens. But those are the rules. That's everything. And now we're on to the predictions. So, Manny, I'm going to ask you, because I'm going to start. What direction do you want to go first on this very interesting card? I'll put it that way. Not the most amazing, fantastic card, but an interesting card for tomorrow night.
You know what? Let's start off with a hot attraction of a match. The Fatal 4-Way for the United States title.
Yada I mean. Alright. Fatal 4-Way for the United States Championship. These are the participants. Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. This all led because Jacob Fatu won the United States Championship, yada I mean, against LA Knight. Yeah. So he basically beat him in a singles match at WrestleMania and got his WrestleMania moment. And everybody was happy. Everybody was excited for Jacob because Jacob has been working his tail off. Even with Solo there, he's done his best work. And it's been really awesome to see him have this opportunity to win the U.S. title. And he's finally won his first singles title in such an early span. But then this leads to others. Well, then you also had the opportunity of the Drew and Damian Priest situation. Damian Priest fought Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania in a very hard-hitting, hardcore, entertaining match, which had no right to be because, again, the feud was so underapproved for, going into Mania. Everybody's like, I mean, it's a cool feud, but, I mean, it is surprising a lot of people. A lot of people were surprised by that feud. I was as well. And it kind of led to that. So Priest attacked Drew after having a number one contendership with now the 4th man involved. LA Knight, yeah. He got involved and wanted his entitled rematch for the United States Championship. But due to Priest getting involved and costing Drew and putting him through the table, the match basically had an inconclusive finish and never finished. So then we didn't have a number one contender. So then the following week, LA Knight took on Damian Priest in a banger of a match. But then his buddy Solo, Jacob's somewhat buddy, even though he doesn't really want him around, Solo interrupted and cost the match another non-finish. So we still don't have a number one contender. So then backstage, Nick was talking to Jacob, and he's like, we can't, okay, I'll give you a challenge. You're going to face Damian Priest versus LA Knight in a triple threat match at first. And Jacob's like, that's fine by me. But then Solo intervenes, and he's like, wait a minute. Didn't technically Drew McIntyre win the match against LA Knight to become the number one contender? And even though Jacob Solo probably shouldn't be saying that or speaking for Jacob, he's not wrong, because technically Drew won via DQ. So technically he should be the number one contender. So Nicole's like, you know what? Yeah, let's make it a four-way. Let's add Drew into it, and we'll have a fatal four-way. So Jacob's first test is against three monsters and a dude that's very crafty in LA Knight for the U.S. title. This is going to be a barn burner of a four-way, and I'm super excited for it because this is Jacob's first big test on a pay-per-view. And this is going to be an amazing showcase for both Jacob and Drew and Priest. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun match. I'm looking forward to the four-way. Now, who wins this match? I'm not going to say this was pretty obvious, but I think I am going to go safe here. I think I am going to go Jacob for the win. I just don't see him losing this early. It's way too early on. And I think they're going to build a lot with him. Like, he has the potential to build into a multi-month champion level run. Like, I think it's going to be like months before this dude loses this title, because it's just, he's earned it. He's worked so hard for it, and WWE finally gave him his chance at WrestleMania, and he shined the brightest. And now Jacob now has the title in his possession to basically show that WWE made the right choice in putting the title on him. So kudos to Jacob Fatu. And I think he will retain on this night. But I think the match is going to be a banger. If Jacob, surprisingly, and this will easily be the biggest shock of the night, if he loses somehow, who would I want to win? I wouldn't mind Drew. I wouldn't mind Drew. Drew hasn't won a title in a while. Not a bad idea. Plus, Drew is... I don't think he's had any real history with the U.S. title, so it wouldn't be a bad idea. And then I'd say Priest would be my third choice. But the thing with Priest is...
And I believe he'll be a Grand Slam champion if he beats... Drew McIntyre wins.
Yeah. So it would be something he's alluding to, even though Drew has never said he wants the U.S. title or anything like that. It would be pretty cool for him to win the U.S. title if Jacob surprisingly loses. But again, I just don't see Jacob losing. But if I had to choose an extra pick... Yeah, Drew would be my highest, and then I'd probably go on my wild card would be Damian Priest. But my winner, Jacob Fatu, will retain. All right, the floor is yours.
There's only one thing to say. Fatu! Yeah, that I mean. You better get in where you fit in. From post to post, to coast to coast. You ain't never made it like me. See, I'm like the scale with it. All raw, no breaks with it. All gas, no breaks with it. You know how it goes. Jacob Fatu all the way. But I can't lie. If there is a shock today, I'm gonna give it to Drew McIntyre.
I respect that. I respect that.
However, does LA Knight and Damian Priest deserve a title win? Maybe. Yes, they do.
I would mostly say Priest, I'd say, because I think LA Knight has finally graduated from the U.S. title scene.
Yes.
It's time to get that man to the world title scene. Even if he's got to move the Raw in the draft. Yeah, like, dude, that dude got to go in the world title scene. He could fit amazing on Raw, especially since Netflix was promoting LA Knight a lot on Netflix. But again, he was at SmackDown at the time, so it didn't really make sense. So I would love for LA Knight to go to Raw and go in that world title scene with Seth Rollins and Jey Uso, and like, he could fit that division well. Because I think he's earned it. He's basically upgraded back to the world title. He's done his part. So, for me, I would love for him to go to that world title scene. But I wouldn't mind, a Priest or a Drew to win the U.S. title. If they surprise us and say, yeah, Jacob's losing the title. But again, it's like the odds of that is so slim. It's so slim. Like there's no chance. No chance. So, but yeah, that's kind of what I think about the four-way. I think Jacob Fatu for the win. I think we can agree. Jacob Fatu for the win.
Yep, Jacob Fatu for the win.
Okay. All right, you're up. What direction we go?
Ooh, you know what? Let's go with Tiffy and Nia Jax.
They did not announce that matchup, sir. It's not on the card.
They did not. I'm surprised.
No, not on the card.
Let's see what is on the card. Did I save it? Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, you have the card, right?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. I'm posting it again.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
See, I'm prepared. I see. All right. Hold on. I got it. Hold on. Give me a minute.
Yeah. I'm not. I thought I saved one, but I guess I forgot.
No worries. No worries. This will be quick. All right. Just use this and scroll down.
Yep. No, B.
There we go.
All right. Hold up. The match is up. Here we are. Ooh. You know what? Let's go with Gunther and Pat McAfee.
Oh my! The weird card of the card. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. Ooh, I gotta admit though, this little feud, as much as it has been a little feud, has been really exciting between Pat McAfee and Gunther. This all started basically after WrestleMania, of course.
Mm-hmm.
After, I believe this was in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Gunther, of course, has not been seen. I thought he wasn't going to be seen for 5 months. Maybe until SummerSlam, I think. But
yeah.
No, he's still showing. He still showed to work. He still showed to Monday Night Raw. And what did he do? Because technically, Michael Cole was talking about him and how, he did tap out to Jey Uso and everything. And, Michael Cole acknowledged that he was a great world champion. But the fact is that Jey Uso beat him. Clean in the ring, tap out like that, and that was it. But of course, this stirred Gunther on the inside. This triggered him. This made him angry, upset. He was. As he was walking down and not only tried to disrespect Cole, but to attack him, assault him. But what did Pat McAfee do? He charged to defend his friend and Michael Cole and hit and elbowed Gunther right in the head or the side of the cheek,
Yeah.
He elbowed Gunther. And then it all started to a little brawl. Like, some security was still there and everything. And, trying to separate them. But eventually, there was an open spot, and Gunther took advantage of it. And he was trying to kill Pat. I was convinced he was trying to kill Pat. Luckily, the management was able to get him off and everything. But at the same time, yeah, he almost killed Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
And I think we probably might see something similar to that on Saturday, right? It's on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, on Saturday night. We are going to see something very similar to that. But, yeah, and then as the weeks have gone by, Pat McAfee challenged Gunther to a match at Backlash, and then last week it was all said and done between the two, face to face against each other, as Gunther just laid it all out there. And not only that though, Pat McAfee called Gunther soft. Now, if I beat you, everyone's gonna know that you're soft now. You're not unstoppable as you once were. But what did Gunther do? He silenced Pat McAfee, and I'll just say that though. He says that I am going to destroy you. I am going to have my arm around you like a wet towel, and I won't let go and I will drop you like a wet towel until you've given up, until you're out cold. And not only that though, he forgot into this conversation. Like, he forgot into this conversation. It gets serious.
Yeah.
He said, by the grace of God. That is the only time you will see me let go of you, Pat McAfee. And not only that, though, he mentioned his kid and everything.
Yeah, just like
And
some
then
sick bastard.
just shoves him to end the segment.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is a segment though, but I can't lie. This has been a really good story. As much as it's been a short one, it has been really good. Brian, if you want to say any thoughts towards this,
Yeah. If you would have told me Pat McAfee versus Gunther is the matchup that we were getting after Gunther losing the world title, I would have said no, not really, because again, it's a commentator that barely wrestles versus a man who is actively wrestling. And Gunther, on paper, it just seems kind of a stupid kind of match. And I can see, kind of the complaints. Like, I remember talking to, again, my good friend Nate, and was like, why is Gunther facing a guy that basically doesn't wrestle when you should be getting in competition and stuff? And this is the first time generally Nate, like, truly cared about Gunther because, basically after his world title reign, he still was not convinced about Gunther. Like, we tried to get him convinced, but he just can't rock with him. But again, it's opinion. It is what it is. But the thing was, for me, was, if this is kind of a setup for Gunther to do something bigger, something more interesting, when we get, down to it, even though I do think I know what the plan is, even though I could be wrong, but I think I have an idea what the plan is for Gunther after Pat. It's going to lead to something. It really feels like this is kind of a setup Gunther match to get Gunther set up for something bigger, hopefully, after losing the world title, because you would think after the world title, Gunther would recover and do something more interesting. But they gave him Pat. Again, not the worst choice in the world, because again, Pat has shown he can wrestle. The stuff he did in NXT, the stuff he did in War Games, and then at WrestleMania with Austin Theory. He's proven he can wrestle a really good match. He knows how to wrestle. He's athletically gifted. And it's not that I'm like worried like he's gonna botch or anything, because Pat's never done that. It's just kind of a thing of just kind of like a person I wouldn't have thought he would fight. But I will give WWE this. It has been a very good build. The way they've made us feel sympathy for Pat and defending the GOAT Michael Cole from commentary, I think the way they've done it I thought was beautiful. I thought the way they've done it has made me believe, hey, Pat's just going, nothing to lose, just going to fight and see how far he can go against the ring general Gunther. So I could respect that, even though it's not my first choice for Gunther. I understand going to a guy like Pat where it's like, if you want to make Gunther look like an absolute savage and an absolute beast and beat the shit out of Pat, this is probably the way to do it. And again, I do expect Pat to have a fighting chance. There's going to be some surprise spots where Pat has a shot. Oh my God, he's going to fucking beat Gunther, and then Gunther kicks out. So, which basically leads to my choice, which my choice is Gunther. I do think Gunther wins this match. It would be wild if Pat McAfee beat the Gunther.
And not only wild, though, I believe this would be the biggest upset ever in the history of WWE.
Absolutely. The absolute biggest upset I've ever seen in front of my natural eyes of what I'm going to watch on Saturday, because I will be watching this Saturday. Bro, I will be in disbelief when we talk about the pay-per-view reactions. I'm going to be in disbelief. I'm going to be like, no fucking way. Like, because you would have told me Pat's beating Gunther, a former world champion and a former UK champion. I would be like, no, you're wilding. But again, I've seen crazier. There's been a lot of crazy bookings. You never say never. But I am going to go Gunther. Gunther's my choice.
Yeah, no, after all this, I think Gunther's going to get his win back.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this, like I just said, if Pat McAfee does the impossible, if he pins Gunther, not only will it show that Pat McAfee was right, but it will also show that this is the biggest upset, one of the biggest upsets in wrestling history, in WWE history.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's why I'm choosing Gunther.
Okay. All right. I'm up. We're going to go to the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And then I believe
yes.
after that, unless... they didn't post the other one. There's one more
Unless they
match.
say... Oh, there is.
Because there was a match they announced Monday. They didn't post it, though. I'll talk about it.
Um,
But Women's Intercontinental Championship. The only match on the women's card right now as we speak. This could change tonight. Again, that's probably another thing I probably should have told everyone. If there isn't a match announced on SmackDown, because there's a Go Home SmackDown tonight, live. And they usually announce potentially an extra match. If there is an extra match announced for Backlash, I won't be able to talk about it on podcast, but I will put it up on my predictions whenever the match is. When I post it on my story, I'll add, okay, this is the match that got added. But if there's no other matches added, then this is obviously the cards. I just want to let everyone know that. Anyway, so now back to Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental Championship.
yes,
This has been an interesting one because it all started WrestleMania. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez had no opponents set up for them at WrestleMania. On SmackDown, they did a gauntlet where Bayley teamed up with Lyra Valkyria, and they won the gauntlet. They won the gauntlet and had a chance to fight Liv and Raquel. And it looked like it was going to be Bayley and Lyra going after the champions and potentially making Lyra a double champion. However, as we got closer to the event, they showed Bayley getting attacked, and Bayley was basically injured, basically. So we were all wondering, okay, then who's gonna replace Bayley? Oh, it makes a lot of sense. Have her mentor, her teacher, replace Bayley and Becky Lynch. There's a bit of a problem with that, though, because as we're getting closer to the match, a little bit of insider talk, even though I don't love doing insider talk in pay-per-views, but I will do it for this one for context. It was reported by both places like Fightful, PW Insider, and other places that Bayley was replaced about 2 weeks before the match even happened, and they did the attack story to put Becky in instead of Bayley. Now, again, if they were building up the Bayley attack story a month in advance, I probably would have lived with it because, again, you had a month advance build to figure out who attacked Bayley, and then Becky would reveal, I attacked Bayley. But they built it in a 2-week span. Way too short of build. That's not enough time. That's not enough time at all. You need at least a month or two build for matches. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I feel really bad for Bayley. And she had the interview with Chris about a week in advance, and I understand why she was very emotional in that that interview, and because she found out probably that day that she was going to miss Mania, which again, Mania is not only a big payday for everybody, but Mania is a big moment to either rebuild yourself or shine on the brightest stage. And Bayley's been to so many Manias at this point, you would think they would have her do something, but no, they straight up took her out and brought back a returning Becky Lynch. And I was really, really sad for Bayley. I felt so bad for her. So when I heard this was the story, I was like, this is not how the women's how the women's stuff should go. If anything, I would have rather have
this decision should be.
No, absolutely. I would have rather, now thinking about it now, maybe you should have just had Lyra defend or have Chelsea Green defend at that point, because if you're going to do a whole attack story but only give us a week and a half of build to have Bayley get attacked and try to cover up for your mistake, that tells me something. That tells me you had no plans for Liv and Raquel at Mania. You had no plans. You had no setup. Because at least with the women's tag last year, you had a setup at least. It wasn't the greatest match of all time, but at least you had something for them. This time around, you had nothing for Liv and Raquel. And I don't even think it was the reason because, Liv was going to, go do a movie and stuff. That was after that. So I don't even think that caused the problem. I think for me, y'all just did Bayley done dirty. Really dirty. And it sucks because I hate being so critical about creative and everything. But I have to in this case because, brother, that was Bayley and Lyra's spot. Even if they don't win the titles, at least give Bayley a WrestleMania match.
And like I said, though, again, has WWE gotten better with creative lately? Yes, absolutely. On the world title scene, some of the mid-card title scenes.
Yeah.
But I will admit, though, that the things that they need to focus on more the most, the women's division.
Yeah.
and more of tag teams being on pay-per-views.
Yeah, those are 100% the two focuses.
Especially SmackDowns.
Oh my god, yeah, SmackDown should be on pay-per-views 100%.
Especially after that ladder match, that TLC ladder match.
Yeah, that TLC free commercial after Mania bonanza was unbelievable. I'm so glad they gave us commercial free, so there was no interruptions. Thank goodness we didn't have to go through commercials for that, because that would have sucked. But they did make up, and they gave them no commercial free, and they let those boys cook for a good like 20-30 minutes, and I was so happy.
Yeah.
But again, that could have been a Mania. That could have been Mania. That's literally the point.
That should have been a Mania.
Should have been Mania.
Really should have
been a Mania. Should have been a Mania, bro. But hey, y'all let them cook. That's the one thing I'll give y'all. Y'all let them cook. All right, I'll let it pass. But for sure, yeah, the Bayley thing, yeah, it just rubbed me the wrong way, especially the way they portrayed this. And like I said, kudos to Becky. I'm gonna give Becky a lot of credit here. Kudos to Becky for going heel, firstly, which I think is something she needs. And kudos to her for really tearing into Bayley for the story. Because, again, it's not easy to counteract, a bad situation about, like, how Bayley was not on Mania and try to follow up with it. Because, again, people were wondering why the hell Bayley was not on Mania. Then we find the insider part about, like, oh, yeah, they basically took her out 2 weeks ago. But they never gave us a true, like, video or vignette of her getting attacked or something. So we can understand, okay, she's going to be out. It's fine. We need a partner. And then you start building up Becky. You did it like a week in advance. Like that's way too short of time. So that's why I felt so way when they did that. And plus it was a solid match, but like the way they screwed over Bayley, I felt so bad for her. And I did hear, actually, and I'll go a little bit in contract talk, because even though I don't love doing that.
And it should have been done differently. It should have been done
Absolutely. But I will say this, I hate them saying this, because, again, we're very critical of this company that I'm going to talk about real quick.
Oh,
she basically said her contract was up this year. She basically is a free agent this year. It wouldn't surprise me if this moment here, the way they screwed her over at Mania, basically says, I want out. I want to hit the market. Because a lot of people are going to want Pam, a.k.a. Bayley. Like, there's a market for her. Everybody's going to want her in her company. And I hate to say it, but I wouldn't surprise me if the enemy side, that enemy side, a.k.a. All Elite, sneaks in and grabs her. And I wouldn't blame her for it. I wouldn't even hate on her for it, because WWE did her dirty in the end of her run. Like, they've done her so dirty. It's ridiculous. So maybe, especially if they do her really dirty in this feud, because this is going to be the end all be all. This is going to be the program that tells her if she should leave or not. If they do her well, then resign. Go ahead. But if they do you dirty, even though you're being a proprietor of the women's division, you're always getting advice, you're helping out the younger women, but they're not giving you what you want in rewards, then maybe free agency is your best bet. And I don't like to say that, especially for Bayley, because I want Bayley to retire with WWE. That's her home. I don't want her to leave. But if she has to get what she wants, then by any means, do your thing. Do what's best for you. Because if WWE is not going to show you the love and respect, then maybe going to free agency and go to a different company will wake up WWE and say, what have we done? Just a thought. Because if WWE really cared about Bayley, they would have re-signed her months ago. But they haven't done it. So it shows to me that they don't care about Bayley as much as we do. Which is a shame.
Yeah.
Because everybody cares about Bayley. Even backstage, everybody loves Bayley. That's the one person they praise in that locker room is Bayley. Because she's willing to help. She's willing to show younger people the ropes. She's willing to help younger stars. That's who Bayley is. But if Bayley's not getting rewarded for it, then what's the point of doing it? It's just a thought. I'm just saying. It's just a thought. But I hope WWE works out with Bayley and they give her like the biggest story ever, because dude, I would suck to not only miss Mania, have a fake attack that didn't even really happen. They just kind of did it to take her off TV, and just tell her 2 weeks in advance you're not doing Mania. Like, that's
that sucks.
That's fucked. Really sucks. That is so fucked up. It's not even funny. So that's why this story, while like I said, now onto the Lyra side. kudos to Lyra for going through this. I don't know how she's done it, but she really elevated in this feud. She's done awesome in this feud, despite the short build. She's been very truthful. I've been loving her energy, her focus. This is easily her best promo she's had, and she looked really good against Becky. Like, Becky gave her a massive platform to work with, and she's running with it right now. And this is the best version of Lyra I've ever seen. And I'm so happy because she's shown a bit of that at NXT, but she hasn't been able to show that in the main roster when she got drafted. But now, ever since winning the IC Women's title, you know, now she's starting to show that aggression. She's starting to showcase a little more. And I hope they let her speak on the mic a lot more. Yeah, like, now I understand. I get why they put the title on her. But again, they haven't let her, you know, talk on the mic too much. But now after that, you gotta let her talk on the mic now. You have to now.
Yeah, you got to.
She did so well in that promo against Becky. You gotta do it now.
To be honest, it was her moment to shine, and she did. So they better capitalize on it.
They have to. Even if, which now I'm gonna say my winner, Becky's probably gonna win the title. Okay. Look, let me be honest. Do I want Becky winning the Women's IC title? Not necessarily, no. But if this is going to elevate Lyra to chase, which I think Lyra chasing for the belt is a better idea, and potentially Lyra getting her true ending with finally beating Becky Lynch again in the future, then sure. I could live with Becky winning the IC title, and you could do a really fun feud when Bayley returns, because I think Bayley's going to return probably next week. Do Bayley versus Becky. And if you don't do Bayley versus Becky, then you screwed over Bayley again. And that's going to suck. Because Bayley deserves to be in this feud because of the BS that she went to with the whole attack and the 2-week build. Like, it was...
And I want to ask you something, though, you know, because there's just been a lot of bullshit talk and everything about this, though. About Becky Lynch becoming Hulk Hogan. A lot of people are calling it Becky.
Oh, my God, yeah. It's the same thing with Sammy. I disagree. If anything, Charlotte Flair is more of a Hulk Hogan situation. Nobody wants her around. Nobody wants her around. Nobody likes her. They just don't. At least Becky, she's got a fan base. People love Becky Lynch. She's not Becky Hogan. Now, if she was like a babyface Becky now, I still wouldn't say she's Hulk Hogan, but I definitely think it wouldn't be my favorite time for her. But the fact that she's gone heel again, now she has my interest. Because heel Becky is the best Becky in this case. When she goes heel, that's her best work. Not to say that I hate her as a babyface as the man. I do, because there were some moments where she returned as the man the first time, and I was so grateful. I was like, hell yeah, she's back. She's no more big-time Beck. She's now the man, which is what I've been wanting for her. Yeah. Now she's the man as a heel. Now I could live with that, especially since I loved her promo she did on Monday where she was just crashing out on Lyra. It was some of her best work. Crash Out Becky is like the best work. Like, it's her best. That's when she's our best. When she is complaining and, you know, basically complaining and trying to, you know, narrow down Lyra and everything and try to be the veteran, but then the young Upstead Lyra got the head start on her. Like, that kind of stuff. That's the Becky I like. So, is Becky goddamn Hulk Hogan? And also, stop doing the whole Hulk Hogan comparisons with, like, Sammy Hogan. It's like, just stop. Just stop. You don't know who Hogan was, bro. Like, stop, bro. Yeah. Stop it. Stop it.
You didn't know who Hulk Hogan was, or you just are just blind and don't see the difference?
Yeah, like, seriously, you really don't see the differences between the two. But yeah, people saying, Becky Hogan, Sammy Hogan. I disagree with all of it because no one is truly the modern day Hulk Hogan. There's no one like that.
Yeah. Career-wise, no.
No. And plus, some people don't want to be called like a Hulk Hogan. Like, the closest thing I give you to slightly maybe like Hogan's strength is probably like Hammerstone. Because when Hammerstone and MLW, the way they booked him was like a Hulk Hogan level monster. But the difference was Hammerstone could talk on the mic, and Hammerstone had a better moveset. And it wasn't as boring. The Nightmare Pendulum is one of my favorite finishers that he does. Just a fact. So, but at least when they did the whole promotional with like the shirts and everything with like the Hammerstone instead of the Hogan logo, people bought it because it was Hammerstone. People actually really like Hammerstone. People do not like Hulk Hogan. So stop it. Just stop it. Stop it with that. But yeah, to finish up, yeah, I do think Becky Lynch wins the IC title. The women's one. She elevates it as she always does. And then hopefully either Lyra gets it back from her or some like younger star takes it from her, and we kind of, establish that division.
Yeah, I agree. And then I believe it is the world title, right? Yep.
Yeah, the only thing we're missing is this match. Dominic Mysterio versus Penta Aceto Miedo,
Oh,
aka
yes.
Penta.
I almost forgot about this one.
So this one was announced pretty out of nowhere, but again, not much of a story build, more of a number one contendership for Dom. Another defense for Dom. But I guess I can go through real quick. So, Penta and Dom originally had a match at Raw after WrestleMania for Dom's first defense with the Intercontinental Championship. It looked like Penta was basically this close to winning his first WWE Championship in the company. But what happened? JD McDonagh came back, and JD cost Penta the IC title. So the next week, Penta asked for a match with JD. And Nick Aldis, the interim general manager at the time, while Pierce was away, gave him that granted. So then Penta took on JD this week, and Penta did pick up the win because of a miscue from both Finn Balor and Carlito. Carlito tried to distract the ref, as he always does, and it backfired because Penta took advantage, hit a Mexican Destroyer, and won in a really good match against JD. We talked about that in our review. And this is where it led to Dominic taking on Penta. It was announced by Adam Pearce that Penta will get an IC title rematch after beating JD McDonagh and gets the rematch. However, there is an extra thing I'm going to add to this story because, and this is just because, while backstage, Dominic with his IC title, out comes a friend, and we had a deep, talk about this, about, the segment. AJ Styles goes to the Judgment Day and basically found their room and was talking to Finn and Dom. He said, I don't care who it is. If it's Penta, if it's Dom, I want next. He basically wants the IC title. And Dom basically looked at him and said, if I can retain, then so be it. But he basically said hello to a good friend in Prince, aka Finn Balor. So there was that. But the reason I bring that up is because whoever wins these IC, title match, the winner gets a shot at AJ. The winner will face AJ Styles. And that is a banger match that I'm definitely looking forward to, for sure. So, who wins this match here? Again, I still don't see Dom losing anytime soon. It would be an injustice if he loses this early. I think Dominic Mysterio will retain in this case. I think he'll retain. And for Penta, this doesn't really hurt Penta because I'm already seeing rumors that him and his brother could be teaming up sooner than later. I've already seen a ton of buzz around Rey Fenix and Penta working together. And I can already see it, especially if they do it with like American Made because of the feud with Gable, which I know Penta and Gable are not done, or El Grande Americano, I should say. So, especially during the draft, like I totally see Rey get drafted to Raw or Penta vice versa to make this tag official. So, if Penta loses, it does not hurt Penta in whatsoever. For sure. So, my pick, Dom to retain.
Oh, this is tough. I really want to go Penta, but at the same time, I do gotta agree with your thoughts about the Lucha Bros reuniting eventually, and I do believe that they're gonna reunite soon.
I think so.
So you know what? And plus, I do love Dominic. I love that they finally have given him a shot at the Intercontinental Championship, and I think that he's gonna continue with it. So you know what? I'm gonna go with Dominic too. And yeah.
All right. It's time. This is going to be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, your main event of Backlash is a rivalry that goes back 25 years. A rivalry that has changed WWE forever.
Yeah.
between two men. A man who is trying to win in his hometown of St. Louis, Missouri, and a man who is trying to prove he is the real last champion, and a man who has basically had this dude number for years. And that feud is Randy Orton versus John Cena, and that is your main event. Randy Orton versus John Cena for the undisputed championship. Cena won the title from Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Even though I'm going to put an asterisk next to it because Travis Scott came up to help, but that's a different story for another day. Regardless, Cena finally won 17 as a bad guy. Cena's never been a bad guy before. So this was new to him. But again, he did win the title. And I totally understood WWE putting the title on him at this point. Because we didn't know how much we were going to have Cena for long. This is Cena's final year of professional wrestling. After December, he said it himself, he's retiring. He's not coming back. He's not going to do a one-off. It's done. His retirement, he's done. He's ready to move on to bigger, better things. And I respect that. And that's why I was so excited when this match was announced. Because this is my childhood in one bubble. Let me say, the years these two, have fought. These two have fought for not only over past a decade, but they are coming up on their 25th year of this rivalry. Think about that for a second. John Cena and Randy Orton have fought each other for over 25 years at this point. That is unbelievable. In the early days, it was always, Cena would fight this new guy, Cena would fight this guy, and we'd go back and forth. But Cena and Randy brought a different level to each other. When they would step in the ring, and just the amount of history between both of them for years and years, it was magic for so many years. It all started, I got a bit of a history lesson, in 2002 in OVW, way back in the day, the Prototype versus Cowboy Bob Orton's son, aka Randy Orton. And this is when basically they didn't know what they were doing. They were very young, inexperienced, very green, but they had a bit of a before and after effect. Randy was getting close to getting called up, and Cena was still in development for a while as the Prototype for OVW. And they were fighting for the OVW championship. And the winner of that match was, I think Orton won that match. Orton won that match and basically stamped his approval that Randy Orton is ready to get called up to the main roster. But it goes even deeper, because then years later, when Cena was starting to embody hustle, loyalty, respect, Randy Orton steps in. This was Randy Orton about a year or two after Legacy, basically. Or actually, no, not Legacy. Evolution. Forgot about Evolution. This was Legend Killer Randy. This was not Bald Randy yet. He still had hair. But it was still Legend Killer Randy, where he was like RKOing Hulk Hogan, RKOing Shawn, and trying to kill these legends. Rob Van Dam. Trying to kill all these goats, all these legends. Such a different era Randy. And they fought for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. And Cena was kind of slowly but surely going to hustle, loyalty, respect, but he was still doing the Thuganomics thing a little bit. It was still kind of there. But it was mostly hustle, loyalty, respect. And it was an incredible matchup. They even had a matchup the year prior at Saturday Night's Main Event in 2006, and that was a banger. So at that point, they were starting to slowly find that chemistry, but they were still trying to find the ropes of this rivalry. But then that all changed, because then, later in the years, they had matches at both Breaking Point and Hell in a Cell. Those years, those 2009 years, I call them Menacing Randy in 2009.
Oh my
He was
God, what a
bald.
savage.
He had legacy. He was a savage. He punt kicked Stephanie McMahon. He made Triple H's life a living hell. He killed Vince McMahon. This was a whole different. This Randy was on a different level Randy. And the year prior, he was slowly showing that because they also had a triple threat at WrestleMania with Triple H involved as well. And Randy actually won that match. So it was a big couple years coming up for Randy Orton. And it was it was a humongous year coming up. And that's when 2009 showed that Randy Orton is the next one up. He's the one that's going to take the throne, push come to shove.
Yeah. And technically, you know, John Cena was already considered the guy in WWE already.
He was. During that 2009, the fans were still behind him, but when we got close to that 2010, people started turning like, "Hey, bro, like we get you want Cena to be the one, but we're low-key starting to get a little tired."
But honestly, though, I kind of feel like it got worse. Where I feel like it really got worse in 2011 to 12.
No, that was the worst part. But 2010 was the beginning of like.
Yes,
okay, we understand. We understand. Like we trying to make him a goat and everything, but like, dude, is there any other talent we can use? Like, come on now. So it was definitely a bit of an interesting time at that point. So then that happens. Then we fast forward to 2010, where Cena is starting to get in the way a little bit. He started messing with the Nexus and basically destroyed the Nexus, even though that was probably not the point of the Nexus. But they really made the Nexus look like basically clowns. Well, Vince did, basically, with Cena. And Cena has said on many accounts he regrets that booking of destroying Nexus. He didn't want to do Nexus like that. He understood Nexus is a potential, hostile group that can run WWE. But Vince didn't see it that way. Vince saw it as just basically a bunch of rookies just trying to find their way. And they could basically get the Cena rub, but in the wrong way. Basically dominating. Which is not what everybody wanted. Everyone wanted Cena's group, to look strong and everything. But they didn't want them to blow out Nexus. They didn't want that. They wanted it to be competitive. But they made Nexus, like Cena basically made Nexus basically nothing. Like, he just destroyed everybody. But again, not Cena's fault. Cena still regrets that decision to this day. Which, fair enough.
Yeah.
And that also, Orton was also involved because Orton was feuding with Wade at the time. So that's where Orton comes in. Then fast forward to the reform of the feud in 2013 and 2014. The championship unification story. Where Cena took on Randy for both the WCW/WWE World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Championship that The Rock introduced during WrestleMania 29. The Hollywood belt. This basically confirmed it into one. And who was the one who won that championship unification? Randy Orton did. Randy Orton won that one. And Randy Orton basically won that ceremony and won that match to be double champion. And going into the Rumble, because, Daniel Bryan was on the rise at the time, Cena and Orton had one more little match at Royal Rumble, and both titles were on the line, and Orton did retain, but it was a really underrated match, a match that I still recommend to this day. They showed they still had it in the bag, because Cena was getting up there a little bit in age at that point, but was still prime. The same with Orton. So then Randy went into, obviously, the Daniel Bryan story with Batista, because Batista returned that year. And obviously we all know Randy Orton basically not only screwed over Daniel Bryan after cashing in on him, but also basically became double champion and basically was like kind of the heel of the group. But he had some fun feuds. But then it all led up, obviously, we know what happened. Bryan did the yes movement. He beat Triple H in the same night, won the world title in the same night, and was double champion for not too long because then he had to retire due to neck injuries. But then he came back. So we know that story. But then from there, Cena and Orton barely fought each other, if ever. They did not face each other until now. Yes, there was a couple appearances where they had some tag team stuff and did a couple other like kind of throwback stuff, but they never had like a true 1v1 Cena versus Orton. Like, it's been a while. It's been a while since these two have fought.
Yeah.
But this time, it's different. It's different this time. Because the roles are reversed. Going into this feud, John Cena is the heel. And who's the babyface, the hero? It's Randy Orton. Randy Orton is the hero going into this feud. It really still doesn't make sense to me. But it's an alternate universe that I never thought would ever happen. If you would have told me Randy Orton, babyface versus the John Cena feud, I would have been like, you're fucking crazy. You're absolutely wild. But here we are. Randy Orton is a babyface going into his hometown of St. Louis in front of his wife and his kids, trying to become a 15-time world champion. Crazy. And for Cena, he's just trying to retain and keep that title. And a little factoid. In 21 singles matches between each other, John Cena has defeated Randy Orton 13 times, while Orton has won 7 times, and one match ended in a draw. So, Cena has Randy's number in this matchup. But Randy has beaten Cena 7 times, so it's possible Randy could make it 8, potentially tonight. But again, it's a rivalry that goes back, like I said, 25 years in the making. And now they're going to wrap up this story one more time. And also another interesting fact, because everything is against Randy, Randy also has a very poor record at Backlash. He barely wins at Backlash. He's only won one tag match with Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Ted DiBiase. And he also won against Edge. But every other match at Backlash, like Randy Orton, well, actually no, Cactus Jack he also beat. But like Randy Orton, Edge, John Cena, Shawn Michaels, Cena won that one. Triple H, JBL, John, and Randy Orton, Triple H won that. Jinder Mahal versus Randy, he lost that. Jeff Hardy versus Randy, he lost that. The tag match with Jimmy, Jey Uso, and Roman, that 6-man tag at Backlash, he lost that. And he even lost the recent Backlash against Kevin Owens, Sikoa, and Tama. So Randy's record at Backlash is rough. He's only won half the matches at Backlash. So Backlash is usually a terrible place for Randy Orton. But again, one win can change everything. One win winning that world title changes everything for Randy and his trajectory. But again, he's got to beat a man that has his number on account. Because again, like I said, John Cena has won 13 out of the basically 21 singles matches they've had. He's won 13 of them. Randy's only won 7 of them. So Cena's got Randy's number for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, oh my God. You said basically all I almost wanted to say in a way. But the thing is with this one, I'm just going to say simple like this. This is different. Like you said many times, and like I'm going to say as well. Mm-hmm. This is not only different. This is the last time these
they're gonna ever fight each other.
Legends, this rivalry,
yeah,
will fight one last time.
Uh-huh.
These guys have each had 5 wins across the board. They've had 10 pay-per-views against each other. Mm-hmm. And both of them, each with a tie, or John Cena has been getting Randy Orton's number. Now, I don't know if that counts for live events, but from the televised events, they've been each at each other tied even with 5 wins against each other at 5 pay-per-views.
But again...
10 pay-per-views,
But again, every 21 singles matches they've had, John Cena has won 13 of them, while Randy has only won 7 of those matches. So Cena has... When it comes to singles matches, Cena has his number. So Cena is the advantage going into this. Which is crazy to think about. You would think Randy would be the advantage. But again, Cena has his number. So it's going to be interesting to see how Randy approaches this match. and how well they know each other. Because again, this is like the 22nd match these two are about to have with each other. It's crazy. 22 matches together. They know each other so well. So it's gonna be interesting to see how Randy approaches this new Cena and how he's gonna bring out the old classics to try and beat Cena straight up. So it's definitely gonna be interesting.
Yeah, no, and I just can't believe it that we are watching two of our childhood legends, our childhood, heroes in a way, and our childhood characters that we've loved for so many years, our favorite
Hmm.
people that we've loved in wrestling for so many years in WWE, are finally ending their rivalry this year and of all time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is definitely going to be rough, but I'm going to enjoy every last minute of it because this will be the last time these two will ever fight in the ring again.
Yes, as Cena said on many interviews and many promos he's had in the ring, even as a heel, he said, after December, I'm done. I'm not coming back. I'm not doing a whole Ric Flair thing where I'm going to come out of retirement. No, he's straight up done. The John Cena character is now done in ring. His in ring
Yeah.
career is now done.
We'll be
He is
over
set.
in December.
He is set to join an executive role in TKO Holdings when his career is done. He's planning to do kind of like a Rock situation where he's in a suit and tie, helping out around WWE, just doing anything he can. Help out Triple H, help out Rock, help out TKO, help out promotional. Kind of be that kind of person, but still do Hollywood stuff. Because Cena loves doing Hollywood, so Cena still got his Hollywood obligations and rules to do after he's done with his in-ring career. So it definitely should be interesting in that count. And
Oh
now
yeah, no.
we go to the winners.
Oh god.
I've had to think about this for a long, long time. Oh,
Yeah.
you were gonna say
Yeah.
something? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say that one last thing is that we are definitely going to, speaking of that, of the retirement, we're definitely going to review this one of these days,
Yeah,
of John Cena's retirement and say, was this retirement the best retirement WWE has done,
has done.
the
Yeah,
best last run?
because they've done, kudos, and I can't believe I'm saying this because, like I said, I don't talk about this company often on here, but I will give them credit. Tony Khan knows how to do a retirement tour. Like, if there's one
Yeah,
dude that knows how to do a retirement tour, it's AEW. What they did for
yeah,
Sting was the
yeah,
best wrestling retirement tour I've ever seen in my life. It was so beautifully done. They had the story and everything. He won the first title and the only AEW title. Lost it, obviously, to the Bucks, obviously after they relinquished them, but they gave Sting that ultimate ending, that ultimate winning feeling of holy shit, Sting won his final match with Darby Allin, and it was a war. I'm hoping we get the same swan song for Cena, where he has a great world title run, one last run for us, for 17 as a heel, and then he goes on the spotlight and the sunset as he goes through. I hope it really does become that. And they're already off to a good start. You're already giving us Randy already. Like, you're off to a great start.
yeah.
Especially after this, I'm
No,
going to
I
see
agree.
what's next for Cena. But regardless, my winner of choice is it is going to be John Cena. Now, would I absolutely love for Randy to win one more world title before he retires? Yes. I am one of the few that if it wasn't going to be John Cena, if it wasn't going to be Kevin Owens, if it wasn't going to be, hell, Jey Uso, to take the title off Cody, I would have picked Randy Orton. Randy Orton would have been my first choice because him with the world title, the way he was holding the title that Cody held when he RKO'd Cena, I love that vision of seeing Randy with a world title again. As a babyface, mind you, because when he would hold world titles, he was always a heel. I would love for a babyface world title run Orton to finish his career. And I hope that happens. I hope Randy Orton does, heel or face, win one more world title to be 15. Because he's been on 14 for so long, he deserves 15. And potentially, even in the future, if he continues to wrestle, because he's saying he's got a lot of time left on him,
Yeah.
Maybe he at least ties Cena or potentially even breaks Cena when he gets to that stage. Not saying he will. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Especially since how Randy's body is. I mean, you look at that man. That man is built different. Man's worked so hard to stay in that ring healthy. Gotta love him.
Yeah, no, I will admit he does, and it's rare that we ever see him, get injured like this. It's rare that we
Absolutely.
see Randy get
Absolutely.
injured.
Randy Orton is one of the healthiest people that I know when it comes to staying in the ring. It's rare that he ever gets hurt. So the
Yeah.
fact that he's doing that, this really excites me there's a chance Randy could break some records before he retires. Because Randy has thought about it,
And that could happen.
but
That
it,
could happen.
but again, Randy has said he's not ready yet. He's got a lot of time left. He's got a lot to do. And I'm happy about that. So we're not going to be losing Randy anytime soon. But it is a thought. I hope Triple H considers when there's no world champion, so they have their young future and they want to give Randy one more title run, Randy is the choice. Because it just makes sense. Especially the way he held the title, like I said, when he RKO'd Cena and he had the title on the post with him holding it. It looks so good on him. It makes
Yeah.
sense. So while yes, my choice is Cena to retain in this case, because I think he will retain, I believe Randy Orton winning a world title, it's not an impossible task. It's a possible task that I think WWE should consider. I think. But yeah, my choice is John Cena. But I would love for Randy to win number 15.
Ooh. Man, honestly, yeah. You said everything I would have said too. This is a tough choice. This is really, really tough. But you know what? I think I'm gonna still go with John Cena somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And who knows, they could do some, screwing where John Cena beats Randy Orton, not clean. And he beats him.
Mm-hmm.
That could happen, or to protect Randy Orton too. But
Yeah.
I think that we are going to see John Cena win the title, retain the title, and still
Mm-hmm.
continue throughout the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think it's going to be John.
Yeah. But I will say, as a childhood phenom when it comes to I love nostalgia, this is going to hit my nostalgia feel seeing those two enter that ring in the main event of Backlash in front of Randy Orton's hometown of St. Louis. I'm going to be like, one last time. One last time for the people. And again, I know a lot of people were not happy with the Cody match, and I respect why. Because there was a lot of hype going into that. And some believe it underdelivered, especially when Travis got involved. I get it. Some people didn't love it, some people liked it. It's a double-edged sword. But hoping and praying that this moment here, when it comes to these two goats going in the ring, the chemistry is hopefully still there. And that's what I have hope for because Randy is still so good for his age.
Yeah.
Cena is still so good
And
for his
plus,
age.
with Cody, I mean, as much as a lot of people talked about the main event being terrible, and as much as we thought that it was still pretty solid either way.
I thought it was solid.
I do understand people's frustrations with it, especially since The Rock
Yes.
was supposedly
Yeah,
teased to
no
go
rock.
there,
Yeah, no
but
rock. Yeah, no
yeah,
rock. Yeah, no rock. Yeah, that
but it
that
was a
I
little
think
letdown that he didn't come.
that's the thing. That's the thing that hurt the most for me because it would have made so much sense to have Rock and Travis come out together and have the Rock screw
Yeah,
over Cody. Even if Travis gets taken out with crosses like how he did, which I do think he sold a very good, a very good
Crossroads.
Crossroads. Like he sold it like a champ. So kudos to Travis, and I think he's working with Booker T right now to be, potentially wrestling, doing something with Cena. That's great and all. However, and this is a big, big, big however, if The Rock doesn't at least get involved in this feud, then what was the point of doing the whole soul thing with John? Like it doesn't quite add up. You know what I mean? So I hope The Rock does get
No, I
involved at
agree.
least somehow, so we can kind of tie it in a bow. Even if it's just once, even if it's just
I
like
would say
once,
this though, either by
like
Money in the Bank or by SummerSlam, he
yeah,
should.
like at least once. Like it has to be once. He's got to get involved. If he gets involved, then I think it will be equal from there. But if he doesn't get involved at all, it's gonna feel a little awkward. Not gonna lie to you, gonna feel a little awkward. But it is what it is. From there, but yeah, that's literally it. Um, that's Backlash. It's a short card because they're building up towards Money in the Bank, which I think is going to be a bigger card. Um, and also they also got to build it to Worlds Collide because World Collide NXT is coming up as well with AAA, which that looks crazy. Um, and yeah, but that's Backlash. Very short card. It's gonna be a fun Saturday. It's gonna be fun. Me and Manny are gonna watch it live, and we'll give you that reaction hopefully Sunday. Um, and we'll let you know how we feel about it. If it was one of the weaker cards of the year, if it was an underrated card, if it was a sleeper, if it was like just a decent card. We're gonna be honest with you. We're all gonna be honest with you, and we'll let you know how we feel about it. Because on paper, like I said, other than like the main event, the four-way for the U.S. title, and technically Penta versus Dom, the rest of the card on paper is definitely more on the, not the weaker side, but more on the side of like, there's a lot to be desired there. But that doesn't mean Backlash can't deliver, because there's been cards where WWE shows it's a little lighter, but the card still delivers. It could happen. It's happened before. So we'll see if it happens again. We'll see what happens. But yeah, definitely a bit of a lower card for Backlash, but not a bad card whatsoever. It could be way worse. It could be so much worse. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts
Yeah,
on it.
yeah, no, mine too. And at the end of the day, I feel like this has been a really surprising and shocking card, but
Yeah,
still pretty good.
yeah, I think this has potential to surprise a lot of people, and I hope it does. I hope it does. Um, but
No, I
yeah,
agree.
that's about it. Again, like I said, hopefully Sunday we'll have our pay-per-view reactions to Backlash. Because after that day, if you guys don't know, one of my favorite promoters, Scott D'Amore, is going to be doing his Maple Leaf that Sunday. Probably after I record and stuff, I'm going to go enjoy that, enjoy my Sunday night of wrestling. Regardless, though, yeah, hope to get you that stuff Sunday. If not, then Monday it'll be. But my goal is Sunday, either the same time or potentially a little earlier. It really depends on Manny's schedule. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I hopefully get those predictions, reactions for you guys Sunday. But yeah, also quick little things. There is a SmackDown Go Home tonight. Cena will be in attendance for his final face-off with Randy Orton before the pay-per-view, so should be a fun face-off between those two. There's a number one contendership between Tiffy and Nia Jax after obviously Manny made a mistake and thought it was on the card. No, it's not on the card because they're doing a number one contendership between Jade and Nia. The winner of that will face Tiffy. There's potential more Aleister Black stuff. There's also a rumor that Alexa Bliss might be in town. So SmackDown could be pretty loaded tonight going into Backlash. So it should be a fun time. But yeah, that's everything. Thank you all for joining us for the Prediction Warfare.
Thank you
Um,
guys.
Yep. Thank you guys so much. You'll see more of these every pay-per-view for WWE. We might even throw in a potential NXT pay-per-view or something like that if you guys want. We could always switch it up a little bit. But for now, we'll only be doing WWE pay-per-views. So, yeah.
Yes. Tune in to Sunday because we will be doing also a Last of Us review on talking about
Oh,
episode 5
yes.
or what will be our thoughts on episode 5 or what it
Yes,
could
we
be.
will.
And yeah, we're gonna dive into The Last of Us and see what it's gonna be to end off this show or to continue on to the show to the end.
Yeah.
And yeah, tune into that as well.
Yeah, it's
And
going to be
future games that we play as well.
Oh,
Because
yeah, for
we're
sure.
gonna probably do some of those.
Yeah, definitely, especially since there's a big Fortnite event coming up in the later in the month. We'll
Yeah.
definitely play into that for sure. But that's it. Thank you all, and we'll see you Sunday for pay-per-view reactions. Peace, y'all.
Peace out.